Sea bass of the ocean. There's something within you that can tell you what's right for you and what's wrong. Some call it intuition. There's many other ways to kind of label this. But getting in tune with, let's just call it your intuition. Getting in tune with your intuition is one of the most powerful things you can have in your life. When you've lived enough life, you've had enough experiences, you'll find yourself like questioning, if you do question, why was my stomach in a knot right before I went into that meeting? Why was I anxiety ridden right before I clocked into work or drove to work or met up with my friend? How did I almost see the future by what I was feeling? It's very trippy. There's an idea that they say that things happen in the spiritual world before they happen in the material world. And that's kind of where intuition comes from. Like, this scenario has played out already, and it's something, someone, an energy is trying to guide you to do the right thing. And they don't come down and tell you, just like, people say they talk to higher powers, they talk to God. But I don't think it's literally like exact wording. It's very like to be interpreted. It's a feeling more than like a phrase, from my experience at least. And I know for myself, I've had trial and error with this. I've questioned why I felt the type of way, and in due time I've really come to trust my own intuition. And also I've been told there's no better roadmap than your own intuition. Because if it doesn't feel right in your body, why would you go forward? Like, most recently, I've been working on this design. I've been working on my first clothes that are about to be released sometime this year. And I went in, talked to the screen printer, showed him the designs for the front and the back, talked to him about, what blanks I wanted to use. We're going with some higher quality blanks. And he sent me a mock-up pretty quick of what the shirts could look like. And I love the back, but I couldn't help but think the front could have been stronger. Like, it was a small piece of the puzzle. Like, the back graphic is really carrying all the heavy lifting, but the front piece on the logo, it was just kind of like a left little side hit design. It just seemed a little too busy. Like, my intuition was telling me, I feel like this could be better. I feel like this isn't exactly what you want for the front of the shirt. And I couldn't ignore that. It became more real when I went in and talked to the man, talked about the process, talked about dropping money on the project. And when it comes to the creation coming to life, something was like, man, I think you need to relook at this front design and see where it can be better, where it can be changed. And so I did. And I made it actually simpler than it was. Because it's small, there's not a lot of space. But I made the design much simpler and was like, whoa, I think this is it. This is all encapsulating. It's simple. It's doing the same thing I wanted it to do originally, just in a better way. And it just felt good. Like, as the pencil was being put down from being redesigned, it felt right. And now I feel like I need to move forward with this design because of just how my body felt. When you're in a business deal, when you're talking to your boss, when you're, let's say you're like bartering on like a let go Craigslist kind of deal, check how you feel when you hand them, hopefully before you hand them the money, but as you're asking questions, try to get a read on somebody, and not just what are they literally saying, what's the energy? How do I feel about the things that are being said? And if you aren't like super in tune with that, just know that you can be. It just takes focusing on it enough times, kind of collecting enough data to realize, hey, when I felt this, it's crazy how that happened later, and so on and so forth. Intuition is always at play, whether it be these major situations or even on subtle aspects. Let's say when you're painting, when you're drawing, when you're writing, or making a song, there's these little hints that come through emotional spikes, let's say, just it's this feeling that you're on track. It's the feeling that, yes, this is right. When you are creating and you don't really have an idea of what you want to create, follow your gut, follow your own intuition. Just get the pen moving. It's great to come to a canvas, come to a piece of paper with an idea. Sometimes, that's why we keep sketchbooks. Sometimes you just need to get the pen moving and don't even worry about the outcome. Just get in the flow, see yourself making marks. And when it feels more official on a canvas, I totally understand. Or live performing in front of a bunch of people or something to that effect. So in the creative process, you will need to follow your intuition. It's how you're going to make something that your future self will be happy about. I think when we kind of just go with it and we're not really in tune, or we're not thinking too much about how we feel about what we're making, that would kind of say maybe this is a little more mid. This is a little more bland, or like, this work needs a little seasoning or something, because it didn't move me. It didn't provoke a level of emotion. I don't feel strongly about it. It's just kind of, I did this. I think the best art is something that probably would move the artist. And not to say that the bland feeling you have of your own creation, someone else could take it as perfectly amazing, like just the best dish of creation they've ever engaged with. I just know, like, sometimes where I've felt the best about something I've made is usually when the responses are higher and people have a deeper response to what I've done in a way. So even just when it comes down to making just small drawings, like where to go next is always an idea, right? It's not always like easy, guys, and I'm not trying to act like this is easy to do. But when you're making an art piece, sometimes like I said, it doesn't really matter where the pen takes me. I'm trusting my intuition to land at something where I'm content with. And again, the beautiful thing about a sketchbook is if we don't like it, we just flip it over. We don't worry about it. So from here, this was most of the piece right here. And I added this and this last night. There's still so much more I can add. And it just starts with little lines here, little lines here, little lines here, and kind of see what is presented on the piece of paper. Don't worry too much about all the subtlety nuances of your creation and how much pressure you may or may not feel while you're creating. Just do it. The action you take, you'll get closer to a desired outcome. And overall, you're just honing in your practice and you're getting way better at what you're doing. They can't all be hits, and that's not a big deal to me. I think that's the beauty of the process. I'm trying to make more like low quality art because I know that I could gain a lot of skill from being not so particular, not so clean with my lines, be a little more loose. There's a deeper expression there, or not deeper, but there's another level of expression. There's another like feeling, emotion, color. It's almost like a different note of a symphony when you try something new and you kind of switch your flow up, really get loose with your designs, and then of course like refine them, tighten it up. And you're never once defined by a singular piece of art you make. It's the accumulation of everything. And at the end of the day, you're sitting alone with your own thoughts. You're sitting alone with yourself, thinking about your life, reflecting on moves you made. No one else. No one else can judge you. So you want to feel good about the things you're doing. And I'll tell you, if you follow your intuition, more than likely, you will feel good about the things you're doing.